Greetings once again. It's your boy, Cypher Da MC, the Muhammad Ali of MCs, the chocolate brother from another mother, coming to you once again. Thank you for joining the Into the Cypher podcast, where we continue to be on this journey. And I say we because I'm on this journey with you to be the very best versions of ourselves as we delve into different topics just to see exactly where we are in today's world, today's society, and how those topics affect us. Where's my background music? There it go. Alrighty then, before we get into today's topic, we definitely have to get our disclaimers out of the way. We have to get them out the way. I am not a psychiatrist of any kind.
Nope.
I am not a psychologist. I don't have a master's or a doctorate on my wall from Harvard. I am just a regular. Say it with me now. Regular Joe Schmo. Just a regular guy giving you the benefit of his experiences and or just looking at things from a different perspective at this thing called life. So, today's topic: do men get the short end of the stick? Ooh. Now, I know this may come as a surprise, maybe not. This may actually resonate, and definitely share the podcast, share this topic, especially if you want to get someone's reaction, whether male or female, if they think that in today's society, today's world, that men get the short end of the stick, whether it comes to relationships, when it comes to anything. Do men just tend to get more cons than pros? And what I want to do is basically I want to play a little snippet. I came across this video on TikTok, and I want to play a snippet here for you so you can kind of maybe get an idea of what I mean by are men getting the short end of the stick. And let me just get your thoughts there. So, and definitely hit me up on Instagram or Twitter and let me know exactly what you think. But here we go.
I am aware that I'm not a man and I will never be a man. However, I'm not willing to debate what I'm about to say. So I low-key feel like now that I've healed and I look at relationships differently, men get the short end of the stick because you're not allowed to be sensitive, but how dare you not talk to me about how you feeling? Don't be emotionally constipated, but if you tell me too much how you really feeling, then I don't believe that you're man enough for me. I don't want you to be this superhuman all the time, but you can't take that S off your chest. Do not sit the world down off of your shoulders around me because I'm not willing to pick it up and help shoulder it. Like, you can't have boundaries. You can't have standards. You can't require a woman bring something to the table that you set before she was even in the picture. You're not allowed to have a broken heart. You're not allowed to be afraid of love. You're not allowed to have walls. You're not allowed to be vulnerable. There are so many things that the world will not allow you to do, but they also expect you to do the same thing. You know what I mean? The world would have you to believe that you're not.
Wow, that
I'm
in
aware
and
that
of
I'm not a
itself
man and I will never be a man. However, I'm.
There you go. Had to make sure I turned that off there. So, there it is. Coming from a woman, looking at it from the perspective of that, yeah, men get the short end of the stick. I mean, if we really think about it, society does have this view that men are supposed to be one thing. And it's kind of like an old archaic type of thinking that has not really evolved over the past 100, 200 years. And this may have something to do with why there's still so much inequality between men and women. Men are looked at, they have to be strong at all times. Even though they could be broken inside, they could be sad, they could be depressed, they still have to display strength, regardless of how they feel, just so that everyone else around them can be comfortable, or everyone else around them can be you know, in a good space. Because of course, if you see the leader panicking or the leader, breaking down, the troops are gonna, oh my gosh, the morale is gonna go down, or something to that effect. It's really just about being human. But are men looked at as being less than human? You can't be human around me. As the young lady said, you can't take that S off your chest and set the world down. You can't take those burdens off and put them down. You can't take the load off of your shoulders, because most women are not going to pick it up. Well, I got it from here. I got it from here. I'm gonna give you a break. I'm gonna take this load on my shoulders, because how the world views men have to be strong and stoic and not allow anything to bother them. And if something bothers them, then it's like, oh, now you're complaining. Now you're doing too much. Now you're being overly sensitive. But yet you want me to convey my feelings? You want me to talk about what's bothering me? You want me to tell you what's bothering me, what's on my mind, what's on my heart? But I can't give you too much, because then what? I'm going to be looked at differently. I'm going to be looked at as less of a man. And most men, and I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, most men do not want that. They want to be looked at as a man's man, fighting bears and eating moss off of trees, manly stuff, using tree bark to scratch themselves, whatever. Most men do not want that type of stigma that they can't handle those, whatever those things are that are considered typically a man type of thing to handle. It could be something, small, like, whenever something needs to be fixed around the house, it's up to the man to fix it. Get it done as quickly as possible. If it's definitely impeding on, the natural order of things, no matter what it is, something that happens to adversely affect the security of the home. It's the man's job to make sure that the house is secure, by any means necessary. ADT, the Ring camera in the door, the lights outside, the motion detector lights and things of that nature. It's up to the man to secure everything. But if he is tired, physically, we can see that he's tired. But that is all that we can see, is that he's physically tired. We may be able to sense his frustration. But let's face it, not too often are men asked, how are you feeling today? And I've touched on this in several episodes, and I believe it's definitely an issue, a problem in the dynamic of relationships if this is not done properly and or consistently. Because if a man is looked at as being just the man of the house, well, what makes him the man of the house? Well, he makes sure the bills are paid, and he makes sure that we're provided for, and he makes sure that we're secure, and all this other stuff. He takes the kids out to, their practices, or he's, this type of guy at work. He just likes to get things done. He's a man's man. All right. But in all of that, and all that a man may do in your household, how often do you ask your man, ladies, how are you feeling? And I don't mean feeling as in, do you feel sick? Do you feel tired? Do you feel, no, I'm talking on an emotional or mental scale. Not too often. Yes, I answered that question for you. Not too often is a man asked how he is feeling on an emotional or mental level. Why? Because most people don't want to know. Most people don't want to know. Most men are not going to say, well, emotionally I've been feeling, taken advantage of. Emotionally I've been, I feel that I've been taken for granted. Because this will denote that someone somewhere is responsible for the way that he is feeling. And really, let's face it, most women are not capable of handling that type of responsibility. No matter how much they love their guy, their boyfriend, their husband, or whatever, they don't want that responsibility. They can't be held accountable for how a man is feeling. Why? Because in their mind, he is a man and he is supposed to handle things as a man should, which means not feeling anything at all. Guys, hey, I know you've been watching the video. You're loving it, right? Thumbs up, likes, subscribe. You'll get back to it when I get you back to the video. Anyway, I wanted to quickly tell you about the company that I've partnered with called Credit Rent Boost. Pretty much allows you to basically have your rent that you pay monthly. Doesn't matter if it's an apartment, house, townhome, castle with a moat, if you have one, if you're rich like that, whatever. But guess what? You can actually have that reported to the credit bureaus as positive credit history that you're paying. So why not get credit for what you're already paying, right? Go to creditredboost.com, and not only can you get credit moving forward for what you're paying for rent, little known secret here, for the past 2 years you can get credit. So you can get credit for rent that you paid last year, the year before that, from 2020, right? So why not give them a chance? You can use my promotion code OVM24522, or better yet, I'll leave the link in the description box below. Might be the best thing you ever do. Now, get back to the video. Smash the like. I still love that guy's voice. It's amazing. But let's face it, no one wants to say, or no one wants to feel like, wow, I am the reason why, this man that I have in my life, he feels that he can't come to me and convey his thoughts. I'm the reason why this man can't come to me and convey his feelings. He can't lay it out on the table for me. We don't have a safe space for him to do that. And then we wonder why men are committing suicide at an alarming rate. Why men are having stress and weight gain and dealing with heart issues, because they're keeping everything inside, because they don't have a way to actually say things or convey things that makes them feel like it's warranted. Like, you know what? You have a right to feel the way that you feel. I believe that most men want some sort of validation, like they matter. Not saying, well, honey, you did a great job. Honey, I'm proud of you. Honey, I'm so happy that you're here. Only when he does something. How often, ladies, do you actually tell the man in your life that you appreciate him, and it's not because he just did something for you? He just didn't go out in the middle of the night in the rain to the store to get you a soda and some chips. He just didn't make a call for you to take care of something. He just didn't pay all the bills or pay the majority of the bills and this, that, and the third or whatever. He just didn't order you something to eat because he figured he didn't feel like cooking and you more than likely didn't feel like cooking. So he just ordered your favorite food, and he's just a wonderful guy. I mean, that's all fine and dandy, don't get me wrong, but let's face it. Let's face it there. If you yourself can say, hey, you know what? He deserves to be told this without it being some sort of action as a response. you'll find that those relationships, those times together will be much, much better and much, much more frequent. Have you ever thought of possibly starting your own podcast? Well, I can tell you firsthand they can feel overwhelming if you don't know where to get started, and that's where Buzzsprout comes in. Buzzsprout is hands down the easiest and best way to launch a professional podcast, already helping over 100,000 people launch their own podcasts. Buzzsprout will get your podcast into every major podcasting platform like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more. You also will get a great-looking podcasting website and so much more. To start your own podcast and get a $20 Amazon gift card, follow the link in the show notes. This lets Buzzsprout know that we sent you and helps support our show. Buzzsprout, the easiest way to start a podcast. Trust me, more relationships will be saved. Maybe even more marriages will be saved. I believe the statistic is still 50-50 as far as marriages are concerned that end up in divorce. And those, are not based off of, finances or infidelity. Oh my gosh, it's always someone cheating or blah, blah, blah. It may actually eventually lead to that, but that's not the underlying cause. It's most of the time it's unrealistic expectations. It's those conversations such as this that are not handled, that are not held. Because men feel that they are validated in the beginning of a relationship by who they're with based off of, maybe how she looks or how she treats him. He feels, I'm the man. That's mine right there. That's a good woman. She always makes sure I eat and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, first of all, dude, I believe for you to have made it this long, you had to have at least a meal or two before you met this woman. Now, she may feed you more frequently, but, let's keep it 100. You were eating prior before she came into the picture, so let's not give her that mantle of she makes sure I'm fed. I can think of at least one woman in your life that made sure you was fed before this woman came along. Hey, thanks, mom. But let's face it. Starting from kids, the gender separation or whatever starts to happen. If a little girl gets hurt or something happens, guess what? She's allowed to cry because she's a little girl. She's expressing her emotions. If a little boy gets hurt, he's not supposed to cry. He's not supposed to. No, you better suck it up. You're a big boy. Big boys don't cry. Suck it up. You're no sissy. You ever let them see you cry. You don't ever let them. And it's that type of mindset that fosters over time. Next thing you know, you're watching tough guy movies and all this sort of stuff. You're either becoming the bully or becoming overly aggressive as teenagers and kids and stuff. But no one really thinks about, oh my gosh, my teenager is displaying toxic masculinity. No. Boys will just be boys. Isn't that what was often said on kids growing up? Boys will be boys. They roughhouse a little bit. Then you have this hierarchy of who's who in a group, because you got the alpha that tells everyone what to do. Then you got the guys that are close to the alpha that they're tough guys, but not as tough as the toughest guy or whatever. And it just kind of goes from there. There's a certain pecking order, so to speak. All this plays a part in how society and the world views what men are and what men should do. Best believe if a man were to express himself, to a woman, this is what's on my mind, blah, blah, blah. If she is unable to provide a safe space for him to do that, she's going to view him as soft, too sensitive. He's not man enough for her. Just like the snippet said, you're not man enough for me because you're telling me too much. You're telling me all this and all that. But I thought you wanted to know what was on my mind. I thought you wanted to know what was on my heart. And for some women, it's a defense mechanism. Oh, you're making it sound like it's my fault that you feel this way. It's not a matter of fault, ladies. It's a matter of accountability. And if you can't hold yourselves accountable for how this man may feel, I mean, especially if he's coming to you, he's letting you know, you wanted to know. You wanted to know what was on a man's mind. You wanted to know what was on his heart. You wanted to know what he was dealing with. You wanted to know. And when he tells you, it's such a, oh my gosh, it's me? I had no idea I made you feel this way. And then it can go in either one of two ways. Either the woman will make some adaptations to how she deals with her man because of how she feels about him, or she's going to look at him differently and perhaps maybe talk less. The communication starts to die out. There's less, there's less affection, less human interaction. All because, well, if I say this, he's just going to get sensitive about it. If I say this, then he's just going to feel some type of way. So it's kind of like a damned if you do, damned if you don't type of thing, where most men are concerned, because if I say how I feel, it's going to change the dynamic of our relationship in some way. If I don't say how I feel, then I'm not sharing enough. So at what point does he have, like where does he go? What does he do? Like, what exactly is his, what is his reprieve? Like, oh my gosh. Like what more can I say? What more can I do? Shout out to Jay-Z. But that's where things tend to kind of deviate in today's world, in today's society. We have to kind of look at things a little bit differently and try to understand each other, men or women. We have to try to understand each other, because society as a whole will have us think that women are this way, men are this way. But yet we're supposed to have functional relationships. We're supposed to have, these relationships that last and these marriages that last or whatever. How so when we are so controlled, and we allow that control by society's viewing of what they think that men should be and women should be? So love yourself. Be who you are as an individual, male or female. If you need that love, if you need that expression, it's good to express it. And this has been today's episode. Do men get the short end of the stick? This is your boy, Cypher Da MC, the Muhammad Ali of MCs. Thank you so much for joining the podcast, subscribing on YouTube as well. And as always, before you love anyone else, you must first love yourself. And I am out this thing. Cypher.
I will not lose. Into the cypher with your light.